And welcome back. This is Hoff, House of Fun, where it is always fun. Well, I try and make it fun anyway. So, as we can see, this is Lightning McQueen. It was a kid's 12-volt ride-on. I have the back end, it is in the shed at the minute. I also have a spoiler to it. Like, as you can see, it's cut in two pieces. It was a kid's toy, a little 12-volt ride-on electric thing. I'm 6'2", so it was way too small for me. I literally made up this little stand that just plugs up into the side of the existing frame here, both sides. It's a bit uneven in places. I need to grind the welds down again and get it to sit in, and I mean, that's be fine. I mean, bits of this are welded together hard, just, yeah, I did bits and I didn't do bits, like in there, welding the other sides and shit like that, but it's all a bit of a chuck it together and see what was going on job at the time. So stuff on this probably will get changed, like the hangers for the back end. I don't quite like that. I might just shove some strengtheners in there and just go with it, but you know, whatever, we'll figure it out. But I was sorting out steering on it yesterday, and I should have filmed some, but I really didn't. So we've got minimal twist on the steering wheel, full steering on the wheels, which is cool because I kind of want to be drifting in this, so it should be smart, fun, whatever. But one thing we do need to work on is this. We've got the output sprocket, got a half shaft. I dremeled the inside of that other sprocket out so it fits the shaft. It's probably going to get welded to the shaft, but let me just, I really need to put you down. Hold on 2 seconds. That's not good. Camera angle's always about the side. Right, let's see. Why won't it go on? Because I'm not looking at one there. There we go. So, there we go. The sprocket sits on at the top. Obviously it can get spaced over to where it actually needs to sit, and then that's going to go about there. Yes, we've got bag in the chain at the minute, but this bearing holder this side is actually going to get notched into the frame. You see this, the black pen, that's the grooving I'm going to take out of the frame. Hopefully you can see that. So I'll notch that out on both sides. I might have to move this or just notch part of it out anyhow, and we'll try and get that all set into place, and then another gear from this side, and then we'll just run straight down to the axle and all the hanger on the back end. But yeah, this should be a fun little project. I've had to make new ones of them, make them longer, just to give me better steering on it and all that. So obviously it's not steering right now because that's in the way, but it won't be in the, my camera angles are probably crap, I'm sorry. That won't be in the way when I'm steering it later, like, you know, it's all clear. Yeah, foot action, I'm like a monkey. But I will try and get some bits and pieces done today. I don't know if it will be the chain and the drive or what, but I get stuff done and I'll show you guys when I've got a little bit more. Somewhat. It's kind of cool. They ow, that was my back. The whole front cage just comes off, and his eyes, it's great. A little windshieldy bit. I love that. It all comes apart. This thing's actually one of the coolest things ever. But like the side plastics, they stay in place for the majority of it. They're all solid. They're holding up the top here, and a couple of bolts down the sides, either side. They're quite solid. I've just got to figure out what to do with this. I'm probably going to cut it out, give myself more internal space, but yeah, it's going to get some sort of a floor in it, but don't know what yet. I'm literally just in here right now with the half shaft. I have notched the frame out. It was a nightmare. because I have put in the other piece in that one. In this, the light is terrible. There we go, look at this, light on demand. It's bright, it's very bright. I have just broke my light. I need to unplug that. Shit. Okay, that was fun. So, I have no light. I literally just pulled the cable out the back end of my light. So, that needs fixing in a minute. But, for the time being, if we can see this plate in here that has the hole in it, that was what holds my handlebar, the steering wheel in place. I had to literally grind the whole edge of this away. I don't know how well you can see on the camera, but yeah, I can't even put the torch on either at the minute, so joys for that. So yeah, just trying my hardest at the moment to use this and try and get this bar as straight as I can to that one. It's not the greatest at the minute. It needs a little knot, a little tap, and then we will line that bar up with that one. And then I'm gonna, for some reason, but yeah, like I say, get this bar as straight as I can, and then line this one up to it, and then I'm gonna get this all welded in, and then I need an extra bar, I believe, from the head down, and I'll probably try and bend the back side of it into this one, like this down here, so that it's got a bit of strength and shit to it. But I don't know, I might come in here as well, and I'm not sure yet. I know it's going to need a bit of strengthening, but I need the section that holds the bearing in there to be able to remove. So whatever goes in between here and here, in there, is going to have to be removed. Like the centre needs to come out, so I can get the bearing piece out and then take the shaft out and do all the shit. And because I'm going to have a sprocket on here, I'm going to have a sprocket on here. I'm going to put carrier plates on the shaft, I think, so that the sprockets bolt to them, and then I can change out the sprockets and put different ones on. But I'm going to do it so one sprocket will slide that side, one sprocket will slide that side, so I need this to still come out at the end of the day. So yeah, it should be great. I'll get a bit further on and I'll bring you back, because I can't really put the tripod up. It's a bit windy out here and my phone will end up getting really wet. Well, the rain stopped for now, hopefully, fingers crossed. I would touch wood, but because gazebo in the way. Back, and we have currently got that one welded in from that side, and oh, I almost fell over. I'm always doing that. And I've sprayed it black like a freaking idiot, but I do actually have a torch this time. So it's all buggered in there. It's very difficult for me to get in there, so I've had to fill some gaps and do all sorts of shit, but it's not the cleanest, it's not the nicest. I am going to weld this gap up underneath here, and then obviously there is still the gap from the other side on the tops here, and I will weld it to this on that back side in there. Just, I didn't want to keep going on it. I've already had to whack some water over it. It's got the bearing in there still. I probably should have tried taking it out, but it still feels smooth and decent. Now it's all cooled down again, so fingers crossed it should be fine. I cut the top of the plate off and I've re-welded that back in nicely. So I've given every bit. I've touched up other places here and there in the frame, but I've sprayed the middle black. Well, it's only a cover, you can see it's all patchy, but it's, I don't want to be touching that yet. It's probably going to be welding around there still, but all areas that I have just touched up and redone, like all this back end here, this is all now solid, all in, both all the way around. So I thought, fuck it, I'll spray it up, then it's out of my mind, don't have to worry about it. I'm going to try and tack these in down the sides a bit more. They don't really need to. The horrible boogers that are up there in the first place are holding them, and they're only spacers for the engine. so the bottom clears all the plate and all the gubbins. But we're gonna get all this cleaned up at some point, all the plastics and that, so it's got no sharp shit poking out. But my biggest worry is sections like this, because this just looks like crap. I mean, like I say, I welded this up a long time ago. Look, there's the worst ones. I have got to take this plastics off, grind all that down, and redo that, because that's just crap, man. But there's been a lot of crap on this. Like, I must have been just, I don't know, not paying attention. Or just couldn't weld for shit. Can now, these are better. These are better. I'm not saying they're perfect, obviously, for any stretch of the imagination, but it's better. A lot better. It's getting there. But, yeah, we're going to keep at it. And I'm going to work on the other side of the... Feed that in there. The other side of the support for this. So I'm still contemplating going over and then into here. Just gives it some strength, I think. It's not going to pull, it's not going to push, it's not going to come up and down because the back's holding it and it's welded there, and well, the back's holding and it's welded up there. So I'm hoping that'll do it. We'll figure something out. I'll make up a bar and cut it up and get it in there. We've come along a bit. We've got the bearings in. Well, that one's in from earlier, and we've made this. This is chopped off and tacked back together because I am going to weld on two little pieces, one either side, weld it to this, or weld it to this side, and bolt holes too should locate. And I'm probably going to chop this bottom arm here. I'm going to plate this out and weld this all back up and make it strong. But that arm is in the way. I should pin into the frame like that. My light out here is terrible at the minute. I'm going to budge it over a little bit more, but I'll go like that and then I'll weld that in and do all the strengthenings and all the shit. I might do the plate and that before I put it in, but just to make it easy to drill the holes. But I'll figure that out. I could do, because then I can put it in the pillar drill. Yeah, I'm going to go do them first. Alright, I'll bring you back when it's done. Different day now, but we are back at it. We need to still weld the sides. This side and this side. Oh, shit, this side. And this side. But, the bearing's in there a minute for... It's in there shit, but it's in there just to hold it, and I can clean up later and redo. But I filled all the gaps in the bar all the way around. Oh, like I keep saying, my words are horrible, but I'm not here for welds. I'm here for strength. So they'll hold. I mean, this lot's getting changed. That's all getting changed. That's all getting redone. But I mean, there is some good stuff in there. Look at that. See, there's good stuff in there. I'm just getting tired. I need to probably fight the sand, grind that stuff down and redo it. But we have bearing bar. This is a little bit wonky, tiny bit, but I've cut this bar and joined it back together in with nut and bolt on side pieces. I'm doing the same here. That's warm. Ow, that's warm. I'm doing the same here. I'm going to clean all this off. I'm going to put some cut through and put some side flanks in and drill through, and yeah, and we'll link it back up, and hopefully at that point we'll be able to cock that over slightly and then drill the hole so that's straight. But it just walked in the welding, so there's not much I could do to that, but it is slowly getting there. You've got engine plate and you've got half shaft, so what, jack shaft, sorry, and like I say, it should from there trail all the way back to where the axle will be sitting across there. But yeah, I put it on a creeper board, it's easier to get about. I've got hiccups. Oh well, at least it's hiccups and not tripping ups. But I think that bar looks kind of cool, kicking off to the side there. It adds a lot of strength as well in that area, and I can build a mount from this top one up here across into this, you know, It's the bottom one, but from this point I can come across into the steering and strengthen the bottom up, and yeah, it should help out. I might even add one for the other side, obviously without the cutout. It's pretty strong, and obviously the other side I can then add the extra piece across here, which I can't add because this thing's in the way and the chain's coming down that way, and I don't want it all in the way. But this side can have an extra bit, and you know, a little bit of extra strength for all this, and yeah, we'll see. Because like, it's almost, the way it's built, it's almost like a two layer. So I know that's going to add a bit of strength, and if I can get some sidebars from the middle out to the sides at some point, probably try and curve them or something, just to give me more room inside. But I don't know if it'll matter. I've actually got some curved bars somewhere, so I might end up putting that in there just to bring it all into itself. But I don't want to go adding too much weight to this thing. It's already quite heavy when the engine's in there, so, but I mean, that is, the engine is heavy. But she is getting there, he is getting there. I keep saying she, he. And then I'll do a whip round at the end to clean up all the welds and make everything all better and pretty, and yeah, I'm just not bothered at the minute. I'm just whacking it together and making sure it's actually going to work before I care about what it looks like. But I'll figure that one out later on. It's getting there, slowly people, slowly. Here we are, still at it. The new piece of bar is all in, and I was an idiot. I had to cut this one out, re-weld it, because I put the fitting flanks the wrong way. You can see the hole drilled, and yeah, there was no way to get this out. This wouldn't come, and that wouldn't. Yeah, it didn't really work so well. So that can all slide that way and knock the top out now. Sorry, camera angles. It all slides that way, and you can tap the top out, tap the bottom out, knock the bearing through. Once this releases, it releases a bit of, well, there's not really pressure, but there's a little bit. It just stops it. You can give it a tap and it will slide out. So what I'm going to have to do is get this spaced out enough so that I can just tap it in there, and then I'll probably end up adding an extra washer and a lock pin in here, and the same this side. But I'll just make I'll close this end, or just make a bigger washer for this that sits around the outside, and then the pin goes to it, and I'll just tack it on so it's not going to move anywhere. But I put a little spacer in here with an alley bar. It's a little bit too much. I was just trying to stop it from moving over too far when I was knocking it in, but I think we'll have to grind some of this frame out eventually. In here, it isn't clear. Obviously this is too far over at the minute, so when it moves in, it's going to start knocking on this. But we'll just cut a nice little bit out, because we do have a mounting hole right here. So it's the top part. I don't know why it's longer. I can't remember what I did there, but I messed it up. So just like I messed this up, this bearing was meant to sit higher, and it's lower than it should be. So I was meant to have 15 tooth sprocket on. There's a 15 tooth there. There was meant to be a 15 tooth on there, and then another one there. So it's all 15 tooth, and there's no differences, and there's no pissing about, and I'm not going to sit there wondering, oh, is my gear ratio going to be alright? It's all 15 tooth, and if it's piss poor I can change it later. But it didn't bloody fit. I messed up. I mean, I probably could try and get some half links or some shit for the chain, but I don't even know what link what sprocket this one is. She's quite a diddy little one. Yeah, I don't know, I've no idea what it is. I'll count up and I'll let you guys know, but that extra bit's in there for now, and it all moves quite well for the time being. I just need to make the hangers for these, but I need to space them in such a way that I can still knock this shaft over to give the free play in the bottom here to be able to take this lot out. It's all a bit weird, but it still comes apart, so it should be better in the long run. I've started tacking bits, well, not tacking, but fully welding bits of the frame, and all the stuff that I keep noticing I'm just touching up as I go along. My welding mask died on me, It's run out of battery, so I wondered why I couldn't see. So my touch-ups have become more of grind-outs and redos. So, never mind. We'll have a go, we'll keep cracking on. The sun's out, so my helmet's charging. But, yeah, it's getting there, Pete. Placed her together a bit more. I just needed the back end on it so I could sit down, because otherwise I've got a hollow hole. But, it's... put the steering wheel on there, and I've rigged it all up so it works. Literally was just trying to figure out what sort of clearance I had between the steering arm this side and the chain. I've got it all strung up under the bottom with a bungee cord. Obviously this plastic here at the minute is changing the angle of the chain because it's getting stuck up on it, but I'm going to be slicing and dicing that soon anyhow, so just kind of leave it for the meantime. But it looks like when that's fully done up on its end, it clears the chain quite well, but I can always do something about it. I'm thinking about making new ones anyway, steering arms, because these are plastic and I don't like the thought of plastic. Like, I'm putting 110cc on this. These are original go-kart ones, but still, I like metal, so I might make some new ones. But she's together somewhat at the minute. I can basically, this one I still have the sprocket sat in here, so it's gonna, this sprocket sits up about that, connects into the engine, drives that shaft. This shaft then rotates, and that cock would move. It's only stiff because this thing's stiff because I've got it all jammed up and everything. But yeah, like I keep saying, it is getting there slowly. I quite like my steering. The steering's not set. Oh, I don't know. It's not too bad. Yeah, I see the outside's out a little bit. It needs to be drawn back in some more, but yeah, don't know. No, it's not quite. They'd both need drawing back in that tiny bit. There we go. Look at that. Tiny bit back in, but although that might help me, so I might just leave it. But it's getting there. It looks so much better when you put the plastics on it, and it's even cooler. And you jump into the land of the mad scientist, and you grab Lightning's face, because it's just a face piece. And then, yeah, literally just clips in. I haven't bothered because I've got to take it back off, but you know, the edges looks cool. I can't wait to have this thing done. I'm going to try and find some red plastic. Yeah, I'm going to try and find some red plastic to fill this edge in, this gap in between here. I'll probably try and heat it up and get a curve in the top of it as well, so there's actually a proper little area for your elbow, but I'm not sure of the shape yet. I mean, this is meant to come up and then, you know, join into this, so there's a chance I'll probably follow up and then swoop it down. I don't know, I'm not sure, I have no idea. Obviously it'll be done once all the plastic's all fitted up, but I'll try and figure that out. I'm hoping I don't have to cut them off because it just completes it, and it's this actual, you know, the side of his face, or the side of the car at least. But I might just extend them, bring it in, see what happens. I don't know, it might ruin it. I'm not sure yet. Figure it out. I might just build up, you know, come across from that point, and then build something in here and just join it in so it swoops. Just change it a little bit. It's going to be a little bit modified anyhow, so well, we'll figure it out. So guys, we are back at it again today. I've got all of the plastics of Lightning off now. Yep, the frame's changed colour apart from parts of the back end, and that's because I am not finished welding. I went a bit mad. I've welded everything. Well, I say everything. What's not sprayed up and what's not good looking black now is not done. So That's why I've managed to get through it all and know what's welded and what's not, because like I said before, there was parts of this that were welded nice, parts that weren't welded at all, others that were just shit. So I've gone over it and I have cleaned it all up, and I've got it all looking as good as I possibly can at the moment. The engine mount has actually got a whole new piece on the side for strength, stop it all twisting and stop the back end moving. And then around the back of the plate I have put another one in off of it to stop it also twisting. That's mainly to stop the twist. This one around here is mainly for support. We've got a support under the back here, and I'm also thinking about adding another one up the front here, around here somewhere. I just want it still to be easy to get these two into the holes under the bottom of the engine. So yeah, it's just... Oh, I have also, don't know if I've showed you already, but I've recut this back one. It's cut and spaced whatever here, and it did not work to get the bearing out at all. I've got hiccups again. Well, I've always got hiccups when I try and record to you guys, but never mind, never mind. So I have changed this one. I've cut in here, I've added these in, and I've used this pole in the way. Use this one to weld into the back of the bearing. It's a bit shit, so it's not sprayed in properly yet, so I can redo that lot. I still haven't welded the back of this or the opposite side of this, but I'm thinking of alternatives for these, like, I don't know, an extra step up, cut an extra piece of pipe, dirt, tube that fits in, slide straight into it, and I can weld all around it, and it's just more surface area to hold it in there, more strength. The fronts are welded in at the minute. I've decided to keep them for the time being, and if I decide later that I need something, I will just cut them out and redo them. But the backs are staying as well. I thought, sod it, why not? We'll keep the backs, we'll just weld it all up nice and true and just nice and solid, and we'll add a plate or something from here, as you know, in between these gaps, as long as that we can still get to these, slide them back and forth, so we can do the chain tightness when it just runs up here. So yeah, I was thinking last night of, I said about some bars that are going to come out from here and join in. They'll probably come out for about this sort of point and then curve up, I would have thought, but I kind of want them to curve up just after where the chain is, and then I can use some of them for rollers, to put rollers on for the chain, so it's not slapping around and it's not going to break and come off and hit me. But I'm definitely building a tunnel for the chain, so it should be fine. But I'll bring you guys back when I've got some more. Definitely still at this, but I've got the wheels and the rear axle on, and no, that is not my sprocket, because that actually has no teeth, and that is a 219 pitch. It was there as a guide so I can wrap a chain around it, and it's easier with no teeth on there because it just sits on the sprocket. But you know, it's going to be somewhat there. Try and line it up as much as I can with this, get that one over as much as I can, and then that way I've got more foot room without a chain there. But I'm trying to get it into a roller, so you guys have obviously seen these bits poking off on all four corners. They are there to stand it up so that none of the frame hit the floor, none of the hangers at the back, the pillar box bearings, none of that lot hit the floor. But I'm at the point now that I have a stand, so these are going to say goodbye, but I am going to cut them at an angle downwards and then up along this side back piece, and now I'm bending over and I'm welding it in so it's curved edge. It's how I was going to do it all along, so I might as well, and then that way the front actually drops to the floor and I can take this thing for a little push, so it should be fun. Literally ended up putting it back together pretty much, so I did take it for that little push, and we've got a couple of issues with the steering, but I think I just need to rake these backwards slightly, you know, angle them, and they're like this at the minute. I think I need them like that, So, but I've curved my corners off slightly, just to make him look a little bit better. But it's got a grill that goes on the front here with his mouth and everything on it, so it's not so bad. But I mean, from this angle it looks great, and then you come around the side and she's still so open. But I was rummaging through my crap and I come across this. Now the front end is already allotted for the boys' trike, so I cut that off and cut them up into mud guards for the boys' trike. But this back piece with its curved edges, should do me kind of spot on, I'm hoping. So I will get that marked out, possibly cut up and put on maybe. I don't know if it's just going to keep getting in the way, so I might just do that at a later date. But I have sides for it now, and I've also cut out all the excess that pokes out in your way underneath. So we've got a lot more footroom in there, and I just need to make up some sort of deck. And yeah, it is really close. Oh, I've managed to set a fuel tank in the back as well. It's sitting, the plastic's a bit high at the moment, but the bar at the back needs cutting, a new one put underneath it, so all this can drop in and the tank can have a little housing point in the back end. But I think I'm just going to do that later on. For now, because this video is dragging on a bit too long, I think we're going to have to call that one quits for the time being, guys. I've got other stuff coming up. The new motors for Frank and Scooter have turned up, so I might jump on with that. I have to order parts up for this, so yeah, until next time, guys, this is Hoff out. Have fun, like, subscribe, and share, please.